Hey guys, welcome back. BDCK here, and we're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. The current character challenge is New 52 Superman. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman, who are available at bronze, and silver tier, respectively. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at the lowest tier, they're each available.
This is one of the challenges with the special sort of surprise. There's a random chance at a free dead shot when you play Expert, Ladder 4, 10th fight. You get, when you win the fight, you have a chance at getting one of the 3 opponents. The other 2 are silvers, and there is a free dead shot.
Mm-hmm. So there we go. His passive is Rage of Krypton, which is Superman receives plus 100% basic damage buff for accumulating power. It stacks up to 3 times and can't be rinsed. Superman takes 15% less damage with every Justice League teammate, and then it just lists the Justice League teammates. So that's Batman, the Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. He's got 1,300 attack, 1,500 health. He was last available on July 18th of last year.
Mm-hmm. All right, so he's an okay card on his own. He's got a 2-part passive. The second part is decent. He maxes out at 30% decreased damage because he doesn't count toward his own passive for damage reduction. That's important because there's other characters where they say stuff like that and they actually count themselves. Even if you spend power, so if we're talking about the first part, even if you spend power, that first part, or have it drained, you don't need to show 2 bars. It's cumulative count that doesn't reset when you spend the power. And it's every 2 bars of power that you generate, you will boost your basic damage by 100% up to a max of 300%. Unfortunately, it's only basic damage that gets boosted, not specials. So your dilemma is this. Do you gear him to generate power faster? And that way you are progressing through his passive quickly, or do you make him more of a tank so that you let his passive take care of his offensive potential and use his gear slots to make him harder to kill? I guess the third possibility is you boost his damage with gears and make him really lean into the basic damage. But that kind of imbalance tends to, at this level, when he's got a 300% basic damage boost, making it more doesn't help nearly as much as giving him something else to make him better. So when he was first introduced, there was no Tantu Totem, there was no Master's Death card. Power generation was painfully slow. Mm-hmm. And New 52 Wonder Woman was already around when New 52 Superman was introduced. I think she was called Justice League Wonder Woman. And she could give him power, but it took so long for her to generate it, and she was only giving him half the power that she spent. So the passive was really, again, not having much of an impact on fights, at least not fights that were finishing in a decently quick, short period of time. Mm-hmm. So after Tantu Totem Master's Death card were released, so everything changed. Wonder Woman could generate a huge amount of power. She could pass along to Superman. And by the time you needed to bring him into the fight, his passive had already boosted his basic damage by a lot. So you no longer had to waste slots on Superman boosting power generation. You could use gear slots and make him almost impossible to kill. And we originally had him on our Justice League team. Link in the description for some examples and fight footage. All 3 gear slots he had were to reduce damage. Mm-hmm. New 52 Wonder Woman would also reduce damage because of his passive. And the third team slot could be Justice League to reduce damage even more with Superman's passive. Or you could boost damage reduction by 25% if you use New 52 Shazam. Mm-hmm. The unfortunate thing is Shazam doesn't count towards New 52 Superman's passive, right? He's not listed. So you only get 25% from Shazam instead of, say, 40% if Shazam had counted, right? He'd get the 25 and the 15. We don't do that. And in my mind, I think he should be Justice League. If you look at the comic book from the late 80s, Justice League, great series. I think I had you read that. It was by Giffen DeMatteis wrote it. Maybe. And Kevin Maguire did the pencils and Al Gordon did the inks. Hilarious, great art. And Shazam was one of the founding members of that Maxwell Lord run or sort of organized Justice League team. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of different options, but if you really want to unlock his potential and make the most of him with his passive, you're going to have trouble making him the star. So for the best overall team and not just the best overall New 52 Superman, I think he needs New 52 Wonder Woman, and you have lots of options for a third teammate. You can boost his power generation with Regime Green Lantern, while also reducing damage taken by 15% because Green Lantern counts as Justice League. You could do almost, there's so many possibilities. The main reason he isn't on our Justice League team anymore is that it just takes time to boost his damage. And for the fights that we have, how quickly we have them, we often need a basic damage dealer at the beginning of the fight. So the footage you're watching now, we're using him a little differently. He is a special specialist. You're activating his passive super quick. Tagging him with Tentu Totem Master's Death Hook gives 2 bars right away. You get that 100% boost to basic damage. If he knocks out the first opponent with that special 2, he gets 2 bars back again, triggering another 100% boost to basic damage. So right then, one special 2, tagged in one special 2, and all of a sudden he's got a 200% boost to basic damage. His special 2, really good. It has 3 main hits. Each does a significant amount of damage, exactly 1/3 of the total damage. And even better, there's enough separation between the hits that if any single hit knocks out an opponent, the next hit will land on the next opponent. None of the hits are wasted. This is not true of many specials. A lot of the powerful characters, like you can see we've got him on Elite 5 only because his stats are so high. We don't need him any higher. A lot of characters with stats this high, special 2 only knocks out on the last hit.
Yeah.
A lot of characters, they have hits that come in a flurry so that there's a bunch that whiff while you're waiting for the next new opponent to tag in after you've knocked out somebody in the middle of the special 2.
It's sort of the ideal format for a special to take.
100%. High damage, all the hits can land, and all the hits do land because there's enough pause.
And damage is spread out. I think the only way that it would be any better on average is if it was like a strong first hit, a strong last hit, and like a weaker middle hit.
Yeah, maybe. But then you'd want the second hit to land, and then the third hit could hit the next person.
Yeah.
And with a weak hit, it doesn't do that. I think this is, to me, it's one of the ideal special 2s. And you can see in some of these fights how quickly he maxes out his basic damage to 300%. Problem is that he's still your special specialist, so he does more damage with specials. But his passive really lets him manage characters that dodge specials, right? Like if you're facing Dawn of Justice Batman or Wally West, each time New 52 Superman attempts a special 2 and they dodge, he gets power back. It powers up his special again, and it powers up his passive, actually, so he gets more power. After a couple of times of that, his basic damage will be boosted enough that you can stop doing specials. Don't worry about taking damage from Dawn of Justice Batman or from Flash, and then just do basics, knock them out at a 300%
Yeah, it makes
boost.
him a good answer to a broader range of sort of potentially problematic opponents.
Right. It also works with gears that dodge specials like Riddler's Staff and Mother Box, but he has the additional option, because of the way we geared him with Claw of Horus, to shatter their gears if you're so inclined. He's not particularly hardy because 2 gear slots are used to maximize his power generation, and the third is Claw of Horus, right, to handle Astro Harness, or somebody else, say, with a no damage gear loadout. But I mean, I like it. It's fun to play. Like I was saying earlier this week during our Q&A, he's got a really good rhythm with his basics. So even though maybe his basics aren't his best part, I still am often very tempted to just do that when I need to, when I don't want to do a special for whatever reason. And Hawkgirl and Rebirth Raven are there just as sort of the ultimate support characters.
Yeah. So there we go. We are 12 weeks into what looks like the second cycle of a new challenge cycle.
Right.
That is 54 weeks long. So we'll keep you posted as we go through it and as we wrap around to see what that is.
Right. We'll see if it actually repeats even the one time.
But
This is the repeat,
Yeah,
right?
the important part is that we are moderately confident that next week we expect to see Darkseid Prime.
Right.
So there we go. Moving on to the multiplayer reward, we have the Sengoku helmet, which becomes Batman Ninja helmet. When it is maxed out, it gives you a 40% max health increase. For every 5% of available power, damage received is reduced by 2.3%. A Batman-specific ability, which is for every 10% of available power, crit chance is increased by 3%. And the evolved ability, which is a 50% chance to resist power drain. Also, there was a little bit of interruptions to the multiplayer rewards, but not nearly as much, which is a fancy way of saying that we expect to see Astro Harness next week, but we're less than 100% sure, right? Both of them were kind of 90-something%, whereas before that we would have said, 99.8 or whatever.
Right. So this is a good defensive gear for your tank. Generally, we don't like defensive gears. We don't lean into them too heavily. But we had it originally as part of our loadout, like we were talking earlier, on our Justice League team. I always want to say Injustice League team, but it says Justice League team that had New 52 Superman. Because if New 52 Wonder Woman is giving him power, his passive is enough to make him a good offensive force. So you can use all his gear slots, make him almost invulnerable. If you give him all defensive gears, he can be invulnerable except against damage over time or gear shatters. And because when you do that, he's not your specialist, there's a better chance that you'll need him to mop up after all the power has been spent and generated by Wonder Woman a bunch of times. So he's sort of primed. The timing of it is right. Like if you don't need basic damage early. Main problem for me with this gear, which is why it's no longer part of our Justice League loadout, is that to get the best benefit out of two of the abilities, reduce damage taken and crit chance increased for Batman, you're not allowed to use the power. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they're in line with each other, which makes the abilities good, right? When there's synergy like that.
Yeah. And it's also really fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think as a gear to build a team around once and to just test it out and feel what it feels like to have a way increased crit chance and to take very little damage, especially if you load him out to take no damage. Yeah. Or I guess I said him, but load whoever you put it on out to take no damage from basic damage. I'm imagining it on Batman, right? But
besides Batman, the other person who this would be really good on would be Red Lantern Hal Jordan, where he almost always has 3 bars of power, except for the few seconds after he's just spent power.
That's true.
So it really protects him well. And given that he loses health with each special, he's the one guy who you would be hoarding his power anyway.
Does the damage reduction count, or at the moment that he spends it? Like, does he get damage reduction on the amount of health it takes from him, or no?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't have thought so, but it didn't occur to me until just now.
So facing a team with this gear is one of the reasons we like to have gear shattering abilities. Mm-hmm. And if you're facing Batman Ninja Batman with his helmet, he can sometimes take very low or 0 damage, and then you are really stuck unless you have damage over time or Claw of Horus on your team.
Yeah, so there we go. Moving on to the store. We have the Apocalypse Darkseid Challenge Pack. That's for 200,000 power credits. That gives you a 6.16% chance instead of that regular 2.86% chance you get of getting a challenge character for just Apocalypse Darkseid. We've run the math. It's not worth it unless you're going to be selling back basically every character except for Apocalypse Darkseid.
Right.
It's our second piece of evidence that next week's challenge is going to be Apocalypse Darkseid.
Oh, no, it's a Darkseid Prime.
Darkseid Prime, yeah.
Because this was the same pack that was available the last time, the week before the last time Darkseid Prime came back.
That's true. They sometimes do this when there's not a equivalent pack or corresponding pack. They make it something else. Yeah. We also have the Ultimate Bundle Villains and Monsters. It's for $124.99. Prices in Canadian because that's the information we have access to.
And that's the only currency that matters.
It contains 10 of the best villains. That's Arkham Origins Bane, Kondak Black Adam, Arkham Knight Catwoman, Apocalypse Darkseid, Suicide Squad Deadshot, Flashpoint Deathstroke, Black Knight Doomsday, Red Lantern Hal Jordan, Suicide Squad Harley Quinn, Suicide Squad The Joker Unhinged. And I should say that when I say it contains 10 of the best villains, I'm quoting the pack description.
It's not your opinion. It's not an editorial. You're just reading the copy.
And so the multiplayer rewards are Flashpoint Deathstroke, Blackest Night Doomsday, and Suicide Squad The Joker Unhinged. So if you wanted like a million guys...
Yeah, and the others are challenge characters.
Yeah, the others are challenge characters. Yeah. If you wanted a million guys, I guess it wouldn't be the worst deal in the world, but it is hard to imagine anybody wanting to spend this much money on a single in-app purchase for one copy of all these characters.
When it was first released in 2019, it was $66 Canadian for the pack.
Yeah. We also have the Icebreaker pack, but that's in its second week.
Yeah.
And that's it in the store.
Yeah, Phantom Zone is back for 2 weeks. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Lobo. Coming weekends is probably going to be Lex Luthor, Batman, and Doomsday. Link in the description to a thread in the Injustice Mobile subreddit from Devlin16 that goes over the complete breakthrough cycle.
So there we go. As far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something significant changes, or on the 1st of every month. We're one day off from that being today, so that'll be next week. It was the 3rd of July most recently, but you can also always check out our tutorials and our glitch tutorials playlist called Current Working Glitches. The main thing worth mentioning is that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on the New 52 Superman challenge and also on the Phantom Zone. And if you're doing the reset on one, you'll reset both, so only reset when you're willing to reset both.
Right.
To finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all of our lovely patrons on Patreon.
And that would be Michael Devries, Irvin, Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Miguel, who are all supporting us on the credited level.
So there we go. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.